Hi class, this is your homework presentation and I want you to remember that there's 3 videos at the end that I'd like you to see. So please make sure that you take the time to do so. So today's lesson is about physical change versus chemical change. We're going to learn the difference between the two. That's exactly the objective of this lesson is I want you to learn how to differentiate between a physical change and a chemical change. Now I'm sure by now you've already completed your KWL chart, at least the K and the W part. But I'd like to remind you about what we've already gone over. We've already learned about matter and how it makes atoms and how they combine to form molecules. Matter comes in different forms. States of matter are gas, liquid, solid. And evaporation and melting is also something we reviewed. We've also learned about investigation and experimentation. And we've learned how to safely conduct experiments. And that's important because of tomorrow's lab. Now, here's the main objective of the lesson is I want to review with you guys about chemical reactions and physical reactions. Chemical reactions are when 2 or more substances are combined. Chemical properties are changed and a new substance is created. So what I want you to pay attention here is that a new substance is created. And usually you'll know if it's a chemical reaction, if it's irreversible. So let's look at some examples of chemical reaction. Flammability is an example of a chemical reaction because you have this match, but once you light it, it creates a combustion here. Something that's flammable now is turning this match into ash. Decomposition is another example of a chemical reaction because it's not just a physical change. There's something that is chemically reacting here, which are the molecules. They're changing and growing into a bacteria or a fungus. You see the change? And this change, you'll note, is irreversible, just like the match. A new substance is also produced here, such as when baking. You use your flour, you mix it with a couple of other ingredients, and in the end, they are not the same as they were when you first put them in. That is another example of a chemical reaction, as well as oxidation. Oxidation is when you have some metal exposed to moisture, and the oxygen decomposes the metal. It is now no longer the metal it was originally because now it's changed and composed itself into something entirely new. Combustion is also an example of a chemical reaction. They change from being fireworks you might buy at a fireworks stand, but once they combust, they give you a nice show in the air, but they can't be returned. That's not irreversible. They will not be what they were when you first purchased them. Also, keep in mind, this is something I want you to remember. This is one of the key words that I recommend you put on your flashcards. A new substance is produced, such as with firewood. When you burn it, it turns into ash. It's irreversible. It will no longer be what it was initially. Now it'll be ash. So let's move on to the next slide. These are possible signs of a chemical reaction. This is kind of an itemized list, something that you should keep in mind. Decide which ones you need to add into your flashcards to help you remember. Chemical reactions, you'll know it's a chemical reaction if atoms are rearranged into new molecules, if it produces bubbles or energy, gas, or if there's a temperature change. And remember one of the key items here is if it's irreversible. Other signs are if something turns cloudy, again, temperature change, if there's a change in color, a change in smell, a change in taste, or a change in substance. A physical reaction is when 2 or more substances are combined and their chemical properties do not change. Here's some examples of physical reactions. When ice melts, H2O is still H2O, only it's changed the way it's shaped. Ductility is like when it's stretching. You can stretch a rubber band, but when you let it go, it's still a rubber band. Now, same thing with the pencil. You're going to maybe change the shape if you snap it in half, but it's still a pencil. Same way with changing the shape of the tree stump. You might cut it up, but it's still wood. Same thing with watermelon. It doesn't turn into an entirely different fruit or anything else. It's just a slice of watermelon. It's still watermelon. So You might change its shape. Another form would be like breaking a plate. It's still porcelain or whatever it is made of. It doesn't change whatever it's made of into something entirely new. Possible signs of a physical reaction that I'd like for you to keep in mind are: you'll know it's a physical reaction or a physical change if it does not form a new substance, or if there is no new energy produced. You'll know it's a physical reaction if the only thing that occurred is a change in shape, a change in size, or a change in state. Other possible signs of a physical reaction is that it's melting, it's boiling, breaking, cutting, maybe it's dissolving, but it is reversible, such as getting your water and maybe putting it in the freezer and then you put it back into the fridge. It will return from a liquid to a solid and back to a liquid again. Now, please make sure that you watch the following 3 videos to prepare for tomorrow's lab, and you can review this slide presentation as many times as you like, but please make sure you understand what the differences are between a physical and a chemical change. The first video you'll watch is physical versus chemical changes. Then you'll watch one that's specifically about chemical changes, and another one that goes into depth about physical changes. And hopefully by the end of this videos and this presentation, you'll be able to tell the difference between the two and know their definitions and be able to provide examples of each. So please be ready to show what you know, because tomorrow we will put your knowledge to the test.